Welcome back to Broken Bobby's Transformation Page. If you are new to the page, in 1990 I became involved in the drug gang world. From 92 to '06, I spent a lot of time incarcerated. I tell these stories to let you know it don't have to be you. If you're young and thinking about trying something or you're figuring out how to get out, these are my stories of this lifestyle and how it affected me, and eventually I got out and transformed my life. So let's get into today's story. So let's get into today's video. 5 things you need to know before going to prison. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Subscribe, smash that like button, drop a comment, and share this video. It really helps to grow the channel. And we are quickly approaching 400 subs. I know it's not much in the world of YouTube, but I didn't think we would grow this fast, this quick, and I thank you all for subscribing. I appreciate it. So, 5 things you need to know before going to prison. And these are going to progressively become more and more important, so make sure you watch all the way till the end. The first thing you need to know is you need to stick to your group. And what I mean by that is if you're with the Southern faction, or you're a Wood, or you're with one of the black cars, sticking with your group will provide you with an extra layer of safety to a certain extent. And something I will say is you could have a friendly relationship with someone from another group, and something could happen, and all of a sudden that relationship ain't so friendly anymore. And like, say you borrow a book or something, and something happens and you lose that book. Now that they could push a line on that, and you could get into trouble over that. So something that simple could turn into a big old thing if somebody pushes a hard enough line on it. Oh, you know what? Let me give you an example of when someone tried to push a line on that with me. So I was in West Valley Detention Center in the court line, and I've told this story before. I think it was a tribute to Stan's story. You can go to the playlist and check that out if you like. So I was talking real friendly with Stan as I was waiting in the holding cell, and a younger white guy tried to press me on that while I was talking to him. And like that, talking usually isn't a big deal, but yeah, he tried to push a line on that, and it didn't really go anywhere. But you know, these sort of things can happen. And also, when I was in Delano in reception, I would work out with some of the Southern faction guys that were from the IE like me, besides working out with my regular group. And a couple of people didn't like that, but in reception I was more in a power position, so they tried to push a line on that, but it didn't really go anywhere because I had juice with the key holder, and he didn't really think it was an issue, and I didn't think it was an issue either. But as you get to some of these higher yards, that could become an issue. So that's number one. Number two, if you're in prison, you're going to lose, the potential is there that you could lose loved ones. A lot of people I've seen where they lost their mom or their dad, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you're in a world where showing emotions is tough. You know, it's really frowned upon. So also, I've seen people get the divorce papers. You know, all these sort of things happen in there. So, you know, that's number two. Now, one thing you really want to be leery of in there is doing anything on credit. And what I mean by that, a lot of people like to gamble. Some people have habits, and people will push you a credit line until they decide that it's time for it to be payable. And if you can't cover that, then chances are your people are going to poke a bunch of holes in you. And I say that very nonchalant, but that's reality in there. And the thing is, a lot of times people, to keep the peace amongst the groups, a lot of times it's easier to just, you know, take out one of your own than potentially lose a lot of your own. So credit and gambling, or gambling and drug debts, are probably the number one thing that people get removed over in prison, even to this day. It was really common then, but the thing is, even back when I was doing time, you know, you lose a couple games of cards and you can't cover a debt. And now, especially if you're playing with another faction, they can push that line, and then it's up to your people to decide, do they want to cover it for you and then you basically owe a cleanup or something of that sort, or do they just want to remove you from the yard? And when I say remove you from the yard, they're well, depending on the level you're on, 1 and 2 yards, you're probably just going to get beat up and taken off the yard. On the higher yards, they're coming with steel, because a lot of those yards are hands-free policy or no hands policy. I forget what they call it, but like, you could lose your life over a $50 debt pretty easily. I mean, it's not, it happens a lot. So that's something to be really leery of. Now, number 4, and like I said, these are going to progress. So something people may not know is your enemies on your street, on the street rather, are now your allies. And what I mean by that is, any neighborhood beefs or anything like that, if they're all under the umbrella of a certain faction, once you get to prison, those beefs are done. They're shelved. And when I was in reception, the guy that had the keys for the southern faction, there was another guy that had rolled up, and he was from, I forget where he was from, but he had I think it was a penny tattooed on his forehead for Lincoln Heights, Lincoln Park. I'm not sure, but it was one of those neighborhoods. And the guy that had the keys for their group killed his brother. And, I heard some mumblings from the guy whose brother got killed. He was not happy at all. But this is what it is in there. So, if you end up in these places, these are the kind of things you're going to have to deal with. And the most important thing you need to know, in my opinion, is if you get involved in the politics, it's going to shorten your lifespan. And what I mean by that is, a lot of youngsters, they're striving to be somebody, to be made, if you will, within their group. And like these guys, the politics are so cutthroat amongst them that they kill each other. So-called brothers kill each other, and it happens a lot. So and the thing is, just being involved in politics, and what I mean by politics is, you're pressing a line on how things should be, and maybe campaigning against another individual because you don't think he's doing things the correct way. And that goes both ways. So I mean, that could come back your way as well. And like I said, it'll take years off your life. If you can do things right your entire prison career, and you make one mistake, like maybe losing a kite or something along those lines, and now you're in the hat. And what I mean by in the hat is your name's on a list, and as soon as somebody gets a chance, they're going to poke you up. So, it's treacherous in there. But it's, like I always say, family, fitness, and freedom is what brought me to salvation. And the thing is, just because you've been to prison don't mean you have to go back. The recidivism rate is really high in California. It's like over 70%. And, we get stuck in these cycles, but you don't have to do that. So, today's a good day to start something new. If it's being sober, so be it. You can do it, though. I did it, and I never thought I would get clean. So that's my story for today. If you like this sort of content, subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. Drop a comment and let me know what you think of the list. And share this video to somebody who may enjoy it. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that when I drop a new video, you'll be notified and you can watch it when you're ready. Like I always say, don't look at the mountain, just start climbing.